जनवल्लभा गिरिवरधारी यशोदानन्दना व्रज जनरञ्जना यशोदानन्दना व्रज जनरञ्जना जमुनतीरवनचारी जमुनतीरवनचारी जय जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी यशोदानन्दना व्रज जनरञ्जना यशोदानन्दना व्रज जनरञ्जना जमुनतीरवनचारी जमुनतीरवनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय ओम विश्वपाद परमहंस परिव्राजक आचार्य अष्टोत्तर श्री श्रीमद् अभय चरणारविंद भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी श्री प्रभुपाद की जय। जय ओम विश्वपाद परमहंस परिव्राजक आचार्य अष्टोत्तर श्री श्रीमद् भक्ति सिद्धांत गोस्वामी ठाकुर श्री प्रभुपाद की अनंत कोटि वैष्णववृंद की नामाचार्य हरिदास ठाकुर की प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गौ गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंद राधा कुंद गिरि गोवर्धन की जय। श्री वृंदावन धाम की जय। नवद्वीप मायापुर धाम की जय। गंगा मई की जय। जमुना मई की जय। भक्ति देवी की जय। तुलसी देवी की जय। समवेता भक्तवृंद की जय। Taking of the word of Prabhupada's transcendental book distribution की जय। All gloriously assembled devotees. All gloriously assembled devotees. All gloriously assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Srimate Bhakti Vikasa Swamati Namane. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we're reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 1, Text number 9. Right? Is 9? Okay. Okay. Yada cha partam prahitaham sabhayam jagat guruhu yani jagada krishnaham na tani pumsam amritam ayanani raja uru mene Kshatam Punya Leshaha Yada cha Partha Prahita Sabhayam Jagat Guru Yani Jagada Krishnaha Natani Pumsam Amritayanani Rajo Rumene Shatapunya Leshaha Yada cha Partha Prahita Sabhayam Jagat Guru Yani Jagada Krishnaha Natani Pumsam Amritayanani Rajo Rumene Shatapunya Leshaha Yada cha Partha Prahita Sabhayam Jagat Guru Yani Jagada Krishnaha Natani Pumsam Amritayanani Rajo Rumene Ksatapunya Leshaha. Please repeat. Don't be shy. Madhiji, please. Yada, when, cha, also, partha prahitaha, being advised by Arjuna, sabhayam, in the assembly, Jagat Guru, of the teacher of the world, yani, those, jagadam, went, Krishna, Lord Krishna, na, never, tani, such words, pumsam, of all men of sense, amrita ayanani, as good as nectar, Raja, the king, Dhritarashtra or Duryodhana, Uru, very important, Mene, did consider, Kshata, dwindling, Punyaleshaha, fragment of pious acts. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Lord Krishna was sent by Arjuna into the assembly as the spiritual master of the whole world, and although his words were heard by some like Bhishma as pure nectar, it was not so for others, who were completely bereft of the last farthing of pious past works. The king Dhritarashtra or Duryodhana did not take such words of Lord Sri Krishna very seriously. Purport. Lord Krishna, who is the spiritual master of the entire universe, accepted the duty of a messenger, and deputed by Arjuna, went to the assembly of King Dhritarashtra on a peace mission. Krishna is everyone's Lord, yet because he was the transcendental friend of Arjuna, he gladly accepted the role of messenger exactly like an ordinary friend. That is the beauty of the Lord's behavior with his pure devotees. He reached the assembly and spoke about peace, and the message was relished by Bhishma and other great leaders because it was spoken by the Lord himself. But due to the exhaustion of pious results of their past deeds, Duryodhana or his father Dhritarashtra could not take the message very seriously. That is the way of persons who have no credit of pious deeds. By past pious deeds, one may become the king of a country, but because the results of the pious acts of Duryodhana and company were dwindling, it became evident from their actions that they were sure to lose the kingdom to the Pandavas. The message of Godhead is always like nectar to the devotees, but it is just the opposite to the non-devotees. Sugar candy is always sweet to a healthy man, but it tastes very bitter to a person suffering from jaundice. Om Ajnana Timirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadam Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shirta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishavamsha Shri Rupam Sagajatam Sagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagan Lalita Shri Vishakan Vatamsha हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीन बंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः नमः ओं विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिविकास स्वामिनिति नामिने हरिजनगण बाडी ज्ञानकर्मान्धहारी प्रकटितपरभक्तिर्भक्तिसिद्धान्तकान्तिः विनय निकर लक्ष्मी निम्न मेदैरगम्यो भुवि जयति विकासो भक्तिपूर्वो यतीन्द्रः नमः ओं विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे वागीशायस्य वदने लक्ष्मीर्यस्य च वक्षसि यस्यास्य हृदये संवित् तं नृसिंहम् अहं भजे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे मुखम करति वाचालम पंगुम लंघयते गिरिम यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणं परमानंद माधवं श्री चैतन्य ईश्वरं यस्य देवे परा भक्तिर्यथा देवे तथा गुरौ तस्याइते कथिता ह्यार्था प्रकाशन्ते महात्मनः। In this verse, it's been spoken about as to how Arjuna sent Lord Krishna as his messenger in order to give a message of peace to the war-hungry, the power-hungry Kauravas, headed by Duryodhana and Dhritarashtra. So they're saying over here that Prabhupada is saying that although Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he still performs the service of going and becoming Arjuna's messenger. And he does so gladly. Why? Sa evayam maya tedya yoga prokta puratana bhakto sime sakacheti rahasyam hetaduttamam. That Krishna tells Arjuna, my dear Arjuna, sa evayam maya tedya, you're going to hear from me this amazing knowledge. Yoga prokta puratana, the most ancient and the most transcendental knowledge. Why? Bhakto sime sakacheti, because you're my devotee and you're my friend. Bhakto sime sakacheti rahasyam hetaduttamam. I'm going to reveal to you the greatest secret of all secrets. Krishna tells this to Arjuna. So Arjuna, he sends Krishna as a messenger of peace. And peace can only be had by one way. The only way that we can have peace. Krishna tells one thing. He says, Bhoktaram Jagatapasam, Savaloka Maheshwaram, Suhridam Sarvabhutanam, Gyatva Mam Shantim Richiti. That if you want to have peace at all in this world, then you need to realize that Krishna is the supreme proprietor, Krishna is the supreme enjoyer, and Krishna is the supreme friend. Suhrit. Krishna is the supreme friend. Not Mitra, not Bandhu, but Suhrit, the dearmost friend of the living entity. What's that? Sanitya Nitya Sambandha Prakritisya Paraivasa. That the living entity and the supreme personality of Godhead are eternally tied together by this like affectionate tie of eternal kinship. They're always tied together. So a person who realizes that Krishna is Suhrit, and because Krishna is Suhrit, he's also the supreme enjoyer, also the supreme proprietor. So that's the only way we can have peace. Narottam Das Thakur makes it even easier for us. He says, Nitai Pada Kamala, Koti Chandra Shushitala, Jai Chai Jagata Jurai. If you want to have peace, then you have to take shelter of the lotus feet of Lord Nityananda, which are more cooling than millions of moons. So this is his peace formula. It's given to us by Krishna and our previous acharyas. So when we see this over here, unfortunately, that although Krishna, he accepts this role and he goes to the assembly to make peace. Basically everyone in the assembly, even Bhishma, of course, as mentioned, Bhishma, Vidura, Drona, even Dhritarashtra, even so many of the great Kuru elders were sitting in that assembly, and they all agreed with Krishna. And one person who also agreed with Krishna that they need to make peace with the Pandavas was actually shockingly, anyone want to guess? Very shocking. One person who agreed to also make. No. Of course, that's a given. We have a picture of him in our temple room. That's right. Even Dushasana is completely persuaded, by Krishna. So when Krishna goes, as an envoy of peace, he does two things. That when you want to make political, this we learn in the Srimad Bhagavatam in the 7th canto, where we see that Sanda and Amarka, who are they? Sanda and Amarka, they are the teachers of Prahlad Maharaj, the sons of Shukracharya. Come on. So the sons of Shukracharya. So, Hiranyakashipu asks them, well, my dear Sanda and Amarka, are you teaching my son very nicely the knowledge of politics? Are you teaching them the knowledge of diplomacy? Are you teaching them this? And then in the purport, Srila Prabhupada explains that there's few things that you do when you're trying to negotiate with people. So first thing that you do is you make peace, and you try to make peace by offering them gifts or giving them a position. Then if that doesn't work, then what you do is you try to create dissension in the enemy ranks. You try to create dissension. And then if that doesn't work, the third thing is danda. Then you have to punish. So Krishna first goes with the message of peace, and he tries to see, and he tells the Kurus, he tells the Dhritarashtra, he tells Duryodhana, why don't you just make peace with them? Although Duryodhana, you're such a rascal, you've performed so many horrible activities. The Pandavas they're such great devotees of me that anything I tell they will do. And he tells Dhritarashtra, you see that now the whole message, the whole annihilation of the Kshatriya race lies in the hands of you and me. If I tell anything to the Pandavas, immediately they will do it. And if you tell anything to the Kauravas, they should immediately do it. So now everything lies in your hands. And he tells this to Dhritarashtra, because I know the Pandavas will listen to me. But whether the Kauravas will listen or not, it depends upon you. So he tells this to Dhritarashtra, and everyone agrees. Everyone agrees that, wow, okay, this is the thing to do. The thing to do is to make peace. Why? Because if you made peace with the Pandavas, then, the Kuru army would consist of Bhishma, Drona, Karna, Bhima, Duryodhana, Arjuna, like the twins, Yudhishthira, like so many. It would be like the most legendary lineup of all times, That would be the most. So he tells them, if you have all of them on your side, which fool would dare to fight with you? Which fool would dare to fight with you? No one would want to fight. Therefore, make peace. It makes the most sense to make peace with the Pandavas. And then, he says that, if you do so, then the entire, so, the Pandavas will install your father. He's telling this to Duryodhana. Your father, the Pandavas will install your father on the throne, and then they'll make you his viceroy. Right? Like viceroy means what? Like heir apparent. That's what does viceroy mean exactly in English language? Like his like chief representative. They'll make you the chief, the viceroy basically. So he tells this to Duryodhana, everything will work out for you. Just like, come on, just work it out. Just work it out. What's the big deal? Instead of taking shelter of noble souls like Bhishma, Drona, Vidura, and the other good advisors that you have here, you simply try to take shelter of dishonest strangers. Dishonest strangers, and he's referring to Karna. Karna was a dishonest stranger, in this whole relationship between Duryodhana and Karna. They became very good friends over time. But he tells him, if you just take this advice, take my advice. So many people were there. And then, before actually Krishna comes into this assembly, right when Krishna comes with his divine vision, he can see that all these sages are coming. All these sages, Narada, Parshuram, Kanva, so many rishis. They're coming to witness what's going to happen in this assembly. They are coming to witness this. And so Krishna tells you, see, all these rishis have arrived. Who amongst us can sit while all of them are standing? So he lays out, so Dhritarashtra lays out all these beautiful golden thrones for them, and they all come and sit. And everyone listens to Krishna's message. While Krishna is sitting on the throne, Krishna looks like a beautiful blue sapphire on on top of like a golden ring, to a beautiful golden throne. Krishna looks like a beautiful sapphire, very beautiful. And he's speaking this message which is soothing to everyone. It's like nectar, actually. It's like nectar. Everyone feels, but like Srila Prabhupada is saying here, because they were bereft of their pious acts. And if you look at the Sanskrit, it says, Rajorumene Kshata Punya Leshaha, that their Punya Lesha, their pious credits were dwindling. Therefore they could not accept the message of Krishna. Another thing also, Punya Leshaha, whatever, Punya is also another name for? Okay. Vishnu. It's the name of Lord Vishnu, Punya. That's why Punya Shravana Kirtana. Punya is another name for Lord Vishnu. So Shata Punya Lesha, because they had performed Vaishnava Parad, then even their good credit, whatever good credits they had, were all dwindling. Shata Punya Lesha. Their good credit, everything was dwindling. Because they had performed this Vaishnava Parad of constantly tormenting the Pandavas since their time of birth. They were constantly tormenting them. So many ways, this and the, either Srimad Bhagavatam, you see the poison cake and the house of wax, and so many ways they tried to kill the Pandavas. So many ways. Trying to constantly somehow get rid of them. Get rid of them. But somehow or the other, by the mercy of Krishna, the Pandavas always survived. And we can see over here that because of their offenses to the pure devotees, everything good was completely becoming nullified. They had the kingdom, they had this, they had that. All they had to do was, okay, what's the big deal? All right, you're willing to forgive me after all this? All right, I take shelter of you. But Krishna tells in the Bhagavad Gita, Kama israsha hita jnana prapadyanti anya devata tam tam niyatamastaya prakritya niyata swaya. That all these people, when your knowledge, when your intelligence is stolen by lust, you make really stupid decisions. Intelligence when it's stolen by lust. And you go and you propitiate all these demigods, you propitiate all these people, you worship them to immediately get your own sense gratification. But this, Krishna calls them Alpa Medasa. They are stupid. They have no brain, basically. Alpa is little, Medasa is intelligence. So no intelligence. They have no intelligence. Alpa Medasa. They are brainless. And because they are brainless, they are not worshipping Krishna. Anyone who doesn't worship Krishna is actually brainless. Why? Because Krishna makes it so easy for everyone. What's the big deal? So easy to worship Krishna. But Duryodhana, him being so affected by lust. Prabhupada writes in this one purport, I remember reading in the 9th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, that when your knowledge is stolen when your intelligence is covered over by lust, you become very shameless actually. And the example Srila Prabhupada was giving was Yayati and Devayani. He was giving that example of Yayati and Devayani. That just see how shameless a father became, that he's constantly asking his sons for their youth. I mean, you got to be really shameless. My dear son, I got you into this world and your duty is to serve me. Therefore, I'm asking you for your youth so I can enjoy sex life. When your intelligence becomes covered over by lust, you become shameless. Shamelessly you want to gratify your senses. That's why you see all these big politicians, big people. Man is 90-year-old and on his lap he has a 20-year-old girl. She's old enough to be his granddaughter, literally. Literally old enough to be his granddaughter. But because of lust, they become so shameless. And then, Swavidvara Hoshtakare Samchita Purusha Pashuhu. And all the other lusty men, all the other lusty animals, they keep, they keep, wow, look at this guy, man. Like, he's really living the dream. Yeah, at the age of 75, he has like an 18-year-old girlfriend. That's amazing. I remember many years ago, I think it was like 10 years ago, Paul McCartney was like 75 or 80 years old or something like that. And then the news came out that now he had a child at the age of 80. And I was saying, that's crazy. But the other people are telling like, man, he's the man. If I could do that at the age of 80, man, like, that would be amazing. But that's crazy. That's crazy. At such an old age to have a child. So crazy. Such a person is abominable. We read in the Srimad Bhagavatam, Ajamil. At the age of 80, he had a kid with the prostitute. Non-different. These people are non-different. To Paul McCartney's credit, he used to chant Hare Krishna and he used to help the devotees. So that's good for him. But it's very abominable. But when your intelligence is afflicted by lust, you become shameless. Shameless. You can just see here. Dhritarashtra is so shameless. He shamelessly is trying to somehow or the other hold on to the throne. He knows, okay, he was born blind. Pandu was a person who had the right to have the throne. He went and he captured everyone. He established the supremacy of the Kurus. Just for the pleasure of his older brother. He went to the forest. His sons, and obviously, naturally, his Kunti gave birth before Gandhari. Therefore, Yudhishthira is the rightful emperor of the throne. But only because of lust, he was acting so shamelessly. So shamelessly he was acting. That's it. That's the result of lust. The result of lust. It's Krishna gives him such good advice. So then, when Duryodhana is not willing to listen, no, I will not listen. I will not listen. I will hold on. I will hold on to this. I will hold on to this post. And he tells Krishna, you see, when I was young and I was dependent upon others, then my father made this foolish mistake of giving the Pandavas the kingdom. He made a foolish mistake, such a foolish mistake. But now that I'm grown up, I won't let him make such a foolish mistake. Okay, he made a mistake and now we rectified it, by unlawfully taking the dice game from taking the entire kingdom from the Pandavas with the thing of dice. No one forced them to play. The truth is he forced them to play. And he tells them, all of you, Bhishma, Vidura, even my father, all of you, are simply saying that I'm the person at fault, as though no one else is at fault. Am I the only guy at fault here? And everyone knows that, yes, you are literally the only one at fault. You're literally the only one. No one else is at fault but you. No one else. And this is like the personification of a conditioned soul's mentality. That we always love to play the victim. We always love to play the victim. He says, what the heck? Why you guys always say, everyone is always saying bad things about me. I'm not bad. You guys are bad. The victim mentality. Always. The conditioned soul always plays the victim mentality. It's never my fault. It's never my fault. And those who do not understand that reincarnation is a fact, they more and more fall into the victim mentality. So I'm not at fault. Someone else is at fault. Everyone is simply telling all the bad things that I've done. But I've done so many good things also. I've done so many good things. Once Dronacharya, sends out Yudhishthira and Duryodhana. He tells Duryodhana, please go find someone better than you. And then, then he tells Yudhishthira, you please go find someone worse than you. So both of them go and they come back and they tell Drona that I couldn't find anyone. Duryodhana straight up was like, I went around, I looked at literally everyone. No one's better than me. Ain't nobody better than me. And then Yudhishthira came back and he said, I couldn't find anyone who's worse than me. Couldn't find anyone worse than me. And he said, I thought like this one guy was actually worse than me because that day was Ekadashi. And then this man was drawing water from the well and he was saying, this guy is so fallen, he's not doing Nirjal or Nirjal Ekadashi, what a fallen guy. And then he saw that this guy took out the water and gave the water to his donkey. And he thought, I'm such a fault finder. And then, he's the emperor, he's imbued with all good qualities, he's the son of Yamaraj. Completely following Dharma his whole life. And he says, I couldn't find anyone worse than me. And Duryodhana, I looked everywhere, like all these people are so fallen. At least he could say, Guru Maharaj, you're better than me. Is there any person better than me? Yes, standing right in front of me. You're my guru. Yes, you're better than me. At least you can say that your guru is standing there. At least, please, you're better. No. That's the result of offenses. You think you're the best. No one's better than you. No one's better than you. And it's so sad. It's so sad that when you become lusty, your intelligence becomes completely covered over. Why? In order for us to practice devotional service, yesham twantakatam papam, jananam punya karmana, te dvandva moha nirmukta, bhajante mam vrataha. That, if you want to become, a nice, when one performs devotional service, it's a sign that all that past, they must have performed so many activities, this and that. It's a sign that all of that is there, when a person performs devotional service. But for a person like Duryodhana, Ichcha Dvesha Samuttena Dvandva Mohena Bharata Sarva Bhutani Sammoham Sarge Yanti Parantapaha. That's 727. Who's got that? That Krishna explains over here that Ichcha Dvesha Samuttena, this duality of, please. Okay. O sign of Bharata, O conqueror of the foe, all living entities are born into delusion, bewildered by dualities arisen from desire and hate. That these are dualities arising from desire and hate. Raga, Dvesha, Vimuktais, like what's that? Pull up 410, Vita, Raga, Bhaya, Krodha, Mammaya, Mama, Pashataha, Baho, Gnana, Tapasa, Puta, Mat, Bhava, Magata. 410, okay. Being free from attachment, fear and anger, being fully absorbed in me and taking refuge in me. Many, many persons in the past have become purified by knowledge of me. And thus they all attain transcendental love for me. But those, only Srila Prabhupada could write this amazing purport. This purport is so amazing. It is very difficult for a person who is too materially affected to understand the personal nature of the Supreme Absolute Truth. Duryodhana heard it so many times from so many people that, hey, Krishna is actually the Supreme Personality of God. He's not just some Yadava. He's not just like some great king or a great hero. He's the Supreme Personality of God. And then Parashuram himself, when he's in the assembly, he stands up, and he's like matted in a deer, he's wearing a deer mat with his matted hair. And he's shining with the effulgence of the rishis. And then Parshuram says that, let me tell you a story. There was once this king called Dambho Pahana. And he was very proud of his power. He was very, very proud of his power. And he was going all around the world to find someone who he can fight with, to establish his supremacy. He wanted to go and find and establish his supremacy. And then he found out that the great sages Nara Narayana, rishis, they are meditating at the Gandhamadana mountain. And he says that, he goes and he challenges them. And then, the rishis, although not interested, he was forcing them to fight. So then Nara, he say, okay, if you want to fight, king, fight. Go get your entire army and get all your weapons. I will quell your thirst for war. And then the entire army comes and they start to attack the rishi. And then simply, calmly, he pulls out a few blades of grass. And then empowers them with the power of mantras, and he throws the grass, and then all this grass becomes arrows and destroys the entire army, cutting off their eyes, nose, ears, cutting off their nose, their ears, and everything, and completely crushes the pride of this king. And he falls at the lotus feet of Nara and begs forgiveness. And then Nara tells him, "Okay, go away, but never again challenge someone without estimating their power." And then Parshuram says And that's what Nara did. And Narayana is even more powerful than him. And Srila Prabhupada writes in the Christian book that Krishna and Arjuna are Nara Narayana Rishis. He tells that that same person who threw all these blades, that was Arjuna. That's Arjuna now. And this other person is the Narayana, is Krishna. Krishna is the source of Narayana. You got to be out of your mind. Duryodhana, make peace. Make peace. Kama says hita. When you're afflicted by lust, no good can come out of it. No good can come. No good can come. Even if you're afflicted by lust, what is the solution? Let's say you're full of lusty desires. What's the solution? Huh? Right. Surrendering at the Lotus feet of Krishna. What's the verse? That's right. Akama sarva kamova moksha kama udharadihi. Tivrena bhakti yogena yajeta purusham param. Akama, if you have no lusty desires, sarva kama, you're full of lusty desires. Or moksha kama, if you are lusty after liberation. Actually, that's why Krishna says moksha kama. To want liberation is also lusty. That's why Krishna says moksha kama. I'm sorry, Mayavadis, you're lusty too. The Mayavadis are lusty also. Moksha kama udaradi. Huh? What do you need to do, even if you're like this? Tivrena bhakti yogena. You need to perform intense devotional service. That's the only solution. There is no solution other than that. Tivrena bhakti yogena. So how many of us can claim to, we are definitely, according to our guna and karma, we are definitely brahmacharis. How many of us can claim to do that? Maybe him. But, who else? There's no one. But if we perform devotional service intensely, then there is hope. There is hope. The only one thing, one duty you have to do. What's the duty of a brahmachari? Only one thing. I want to hear the Sanskrit. That's right, Acharya Upasana. That's the only duty. What other duty is there than to worship the spiritual master? No other duty is there. But Parshuram is telling him, come on, this is Narayan Rishis. What is wrong with you? You think you can actually defeat do you really think you could stand against them? And then, Krishna says that, Duryodhana is sitting there and, he's not listening. And Karna is next to him like, these guys, don't worry about them, we can handle them. And then Duryodhana also thinks, and then Krishna tells him, and then Dhritarashtra, then Krishna even persuades Dhritarashtra, and Dhritarashtra tells him, my dear son, now is time for you to make peace. Please make peace with the Pandavas. Let Yudhishthira put his red palm, on your back and bless you. And let Bhima say, I embrace you. And let Arjuna and the twins offer you the respects and you can bless them in return. If you don't do this, the entire Kshatriya race will be annihilated. Please seek peace. And Duryodhana was thinking, Bhima embracing me? He's my mortal foe, it's like us and the Mayavadis, wow, why don't you just live with the Mayavadis? No! Like same way, Then Bhima embraced me? Are you putting the book on the floor, Curtis? Is the book on the floor? Yeah, but you should not put it on the floor, please. You can put it in your... okay, good. Awesome. Thank you, I couldn't see that. But okay, it's not the same. So maybe you can put it up. Oh, what's not the same? Oh, Mayavadi. We hate the Mayavadi. Yeah, I guess like their feelings may be more intense. Yeah, but we can see. Okay, but it's not the same as we also don't like as part of the Madhva Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya. We're born enemies of the Mayavadis, So but it's not the same that side. Our acharyas have like transcendental. Our enmities with their philosophy and not with them. But with Duryodhana, that's completely different. He's right. I made a mistake. Okay, Duryodhana, Bhima embracing me. I want to kill him. Like every day he would have his servants make like this like iron form of Bhima, and he would like after resting he would take his mace and break that form. How dare like Bhima embracing me? So he couldn't even think. Oh my God! How can I ever do this? And he was really thinking, there's no way we could do it. And then, Krishna tells, who could stand in front of the mighty Vrikodara, mighty Bhima, when Bhima is angry? And there's another piece is not working. Krishna is creating dissension among the Kurus. He says, who can stand in front of the mighty Bhima Sena when he's angry? Who can stand with Arjuna with the Gandiva in his hand? Do you not remember the battle of Virata? In the battle of Virata, Arjuna single-handedly defeats Bhima, Drona, Bhishma, Drona, Karna, Kripa, Duryodhana, and so many other warriors. In front of Karna's eyes, he slays his brother. In front of his eyes. And he defeats all of them, wounds them, and sends them reeling. Then Krishna tells, wasn't that enough evidence? And Krishna wasn't even on Arjuna's chariot. He tells Arjuna, wasn't that enough evidence for you? And then to make it even worse, then Krishna also reminds, do you not remember what happened when the Gandharvas attacked you? Like one time, when the Pandavas were on their exile, Duryodhana was, sitting and he was like, looking like really like, little like dissatisfied. So like, Shakuni came up to him, Karna came, why do you look so dissatisfied? Why do you look so dissatisfied? What's the problem? He said, you see, like, I'm really happy that I sent the Pandavas to like, to the forest and all that. But like, I'm not able to like show off my wealth to them. I want to like really rub it in their face. Unless I rub it in their face, how am I going to like, I feel happiness, So they said, okay. They came up with the whole plan. Tell your father you're going to go count the cows in the forest or whatever like this. And then right across the bank where the Pandavas were, like they're performing a sacrifice. Duryodhana comes, like, he dresses like in the most royal and lavish clothes, and like, he makes his wives and all the other women wear like the most like, decorative saris and like jewels and ornaments and all this and all that. And then he tells them, and then he's trying to like, flex basically. He's trying to flex in front of the Pandavas. And then, what happens is, the Gandharvas are also there, and the Gandharvas tell him, hey, actually this place is meant for our king to enjoy. I want you to leave. He's asking you to leave. And he said, how dare you ask me to leave? I am the emperor. How dare you ask me to leave? So then the Gandharvas are like, you better leave. And he said, yeah, either leave or there's war. He said, all right, let there be war. So then Duryodhana, Karna, Shakuni, and all this, his brothers and all that, they start fighting with the Gandharvas, and the Gandharvas destroy them. They destroy Karna, and the Karna goes away, to hide somewhere, and then, like, the Kurus are crushed, And then what happens, in order to make it even worse, is like the Gandharvas capture Duryodhana and take him as a prisoner. And then a messenger comes running to Yudhishthira, please help. These Gandharvas captured Duryodhana. And Bhima was like, yes, this is amazing. Finally, we don't even have to fight the war. He did it. And then, Yudhishthira is like, no, this is not right. That amongst us, we're the Pandavas and the Kauravas. We are 5 and they're 100. But when other enemies are attacking, we are 105. We are all the Kurus. And then he tells Bhima, just imagine, your mortal enemy, his entire life is dependent upon you right now. It's dependent upon you. So I order you, Arjuna and the twins, to go and fight with the Gandharvas. And they go and they fight. And then Bhima does his thing, destroying all these Gandharvas. And Arjuna, he's seeing that the Gandharva is leaving with Duryodhana, and he thwarts his whole thing. And then he says Duryodhana, and the Gandharva comes, I've come to you as a friend. And then he says, I was actually sent by Indra because Indra couldn't tolerate this rascal's this rascal's intentions towards you. So then, they say, okay, so now what should we do with Duryodhana? And then Arjuna says, better if Yudhishthira decides what to be done. If it was up to Bhima, it would have been a different story. But, it was up to Yudhishthira. So, they go to Yudhishthira, and then Yudhishthira tells, my dear child, do not be so foolish, do not, And Yudhishthira is such a pure devotee, he has no malice in his heart, no envy in his heart. He doesn't think that, okay, now it's time, get that sword, let's loop off this guy's head. No. They think, all right, he's fine, let him go, just don't be so stupid again. And then Duryodhana, although he's very reluctant, He says, all right, Arjuna, you saved me, so I have to give you a boon. And Arjuna laughs, I don't need the boon. I'll ask you later. And that's what Krishna uses to save, the Pandavas from the 5 arrows of Bhishma, sorry. So then, Duryodhana is very depressed. And then in this whole assembly hall, Krishna is reminding him of this. And when he reminds him of this, Duryodhana, and then what happens actually is that, I'm getting into my Mahabharata bhav here, like this, it's like I can't help it, this is the verse, is asking for it. So, over here, then Duryodhana remembers that, he feels very humiliated, like, my God, I wanted to go and insult them, but I feel insulted myself. Here I am, I'm like, I got saved by Bhima and Arjuna. No, what could be worse? What could be worse than this? Oh, man. So then, he decides that he's going to fast to death. That's it. Enough. We're going to fast to death. There's no use of living. What's the use? So then, he's fasting to death, and Karna and Dushasana, Shakuni, they all come and they beg him, please, you relent. These are the ways of war. Sometimes you win some and you lose some. This, that, and the other thing, telling him this, telling him that. But Duryodhana made up his mind, I'm going to fast to death. And while he was fasting to death, then the Danavas from the underworld, they come up, then they enter into his consciousness, and they grab Duryodhana and they take him to the netherworld. And over there, they all meet him and they tell him, Duryodhana, let us tell you what was going to happen. Do not make up your mind to fast to death, because let me tell you about your birth. And the Danavas tell him that we all performed great sacrifices and prayed to Lord Shiva in order to in order to defeat all these saintly people who are coming upon this planet, all the demigods and all their representatives who are coming on this planet. We performed this great sacrifice to please Lord Shiva, and Lord Shiva gave us you as a boon to us. And don't worry, this is the boon. You were like the result of our sacrifice. And in the battle of Kurukshetra, all of us will take over the minds of Drona and Bhishma and all of them and make them fight demoniacally. And your friend Karna, he is actually the reincarnation of Narakasura, who Vishnu killed in the past. And this entire Samsapaka army, there's an army of Samsapakas. They are also, Danavas who come to support you. So do not give up your life, because you have a great mission on behalf of the Danavas. And then Duryodhana comes out and he comes out and he realizes, wow, okay, I'm not going to fast. And I guess one way or the other, the war is going to be over. Either Karna is going to do it on my behalf, or the Samstapakas are going to do it on my behalf. But somehow or the other, victory is mine. So he takes the advice of ill-advised people, the Danavas of all people. The Danavas embrace him. Thank you so much for changing your mind. Thanks, buddy. And thank you so much. And then he goes back up and while Krishna is telling him, he said, things may have been different in the past, but now the Danavas are going to come to my aid. You see, no matter how much good advice you give someone, when their knowledge is stolen by their intelligence is stolen by lust, then there is no question of taking good advice. Duryodhana is a personification of Matirna Krishna Paratasvatova Mitopi Badyeta Grahavatanam Andayata Adanta Gopir Vishatam Tamishram Punas Sharvata Sharvananam. That no matter how much good advice is given, Matirna Krishna Paratasvatova, he is not willing to take good advice. He's not willing to take good advice. Mitopi Badyeta Grahavatanam. He's taken a vow to remain stupid and hold on to his imagined superiority. Mitopi Badyeta Grahavatanam. Adanta Gobir Vishitam Tamishram. Therefore, he's fallen more and more into the darkness of illusion. Punas Sharvata Charvanana. And then he's not listening. And then Dhritarashtra advises him, still not listening. Parshurama. And you can just see what a fool he is to have his place trust in Karna. That Parshurama is Karna's guru. Couldn't he have my guru is saying this. Come on, Duryodhana, it's Parshurama. He is my guru. I am his disciple. My guru is saying this. How can I say? Even though his guru is saying this, still, he does not listen. Still. And then they all get, then Gandhari instructs him, Dhritarashtra instructs him, so many people instruct him, Bhishma, Vidura, Drona, all of them instruct him, and he's not willing to listen. And then he leaves The count. Even Dushasana says, actually, my dear brother, it'll be foolish. It'll be foolish if we go on with this fight. It will be foolish if we go on with this fight. And then, he gets really upset at Dushasana. He says, I can't believe this. Even you? You what's, chastises the heck on Dushasana. Is very ashamed. I'm so sorry. This Krishna guy is really good at talking, It's like, so sorry, And then they decide, okay, and then Krishna, and then what happens is Duryodhana, Shakuni, Karna, along with all his 100 brothers, they leave the assembly. And then, Krishna tells Dhritarashtra, you see, this person is the cause who's going to annihilate the entire Kuru race. And although he belongs to although he's your son, imprison him. Imprison him, Shakuni, Karna, and Dushasana. Imprison them, and then you'll do the best thing for yourself and the entire world. Just imprison them. Then he gives himself as an example. That Kamsa, although he was my uncle, I had to kill him. I had to kill Kamsa. And by killing Kamsa, who was such a big demon, the Bojakas, the Andakas, and the Vrishnis all live happily now. We all live happily now because I just killed this one person. And then, there's like this famous saying, like, you can sacrifice a man to save a family to save a village to save a town to save a city to save, the state to save the country. Krishna actually comes up with that. Krishna actually came up with it. Krishna said that first in the Mahabharata, actually. That's where it comes from. Huh? It's amazing. So Krishna says, in order to save your race, it's okay to kill one of your own kinsmen. So, Krishna is giving all this advice, and Duryodhana gets very upset. He thinks, what the heck? He tells him that, you see, Krishna is so persuasive that he's trying to make them capture us. Let's do something about this. And then, Satyaki, who's with Krishna, he was the only person with Krishna, he's noticing. He tells Krishna, I think Duryodhana is making a plan to capture him. And Krishna, let him try. All the kings of the world, all of them put together, they can't do anything to me. What the hell will this fool Duryodhana do? So, and then, Krishna tells Dhritarashtra, hey, this is a very sinful act. If you try to capture a messenger, that's a very sinful act. Do not do such a foolish sinful act, Dhritarashtra. You know better. And then Duryodhana comes in, Dhritarashtra doesn't do anything, and he orders the soldiers, immediately go and capture this Krishna. And all of them come, and then Krishna simply shows his partial universal form, shows them universal form, and there's so many more details, of course. Shows them his universal form, and no one is able to capture him. Krishna is spread everywhere. No one knows what to do. And then, even Dhritarashtra, he tells Vasudeva, you should let me see this form of yours. And although he is blind, Krishna gives him the vision with which he could see the universal form. He sees Krishna's universe. That's amazing. He sees this form. But still, all this happens. And then Duryodhana realizes he can't capture Krishna. But still, in spite of Dhritarashtra seeing his universal form, and Duryodhana and all of them seeing the universal form, still, after everything, he didn't agree. Duryodhana didn't agree. And then right before the war starts, he sends a messenger, and he tells, one of the things he tells, he says many things, he says, oh Krishna, I've seen many, many magic tricks in my life. I myself can do so much magic if I want. But let's see what your magic trick will do on the battlefield. It's trying to taunt Krishna. What a fool. But Kama says Hitagnana. When your lust is stolen by illusion, when your intelligence is stolen by lust, then you're in illusion. So much illusion. By what to do. But for pure devotees, the message of Godhead is always like nectar to the devotees. Where is that? Is this in this chapter? Anyway, this is a really beautiful verse. I could pull it up. It's very amazing, actually. It's in the 3rd canto. Yeah, 3:20-25. Sorry, wrong verse. I mean, I'm unable to pull it up, but I'll just say that I'll just say the translation. I remember it very well. That that okay. That the Supreme Personality of Godhead, He's so kind that His message they're like nectar to the devotees. And yes, to the non-devotees, yes, it may be that they're very much engrossed in this bodily conception of life, and so many things may be there. But the only remedy for the fever of material existence is Krishna Katha. That's the only remedy. There is no remedy other than this. That's why Syat Krishna Nama Charitadi Sitapya Vidya Pitopatapta Rasanasya Roshikanu Kintvadarad Anudinam Kalu Saiva Chishtad Swadvi Kramad Bhavati Tadgada Mula Hantri. That although we are completely threatened by material existence, and we are afflicted by the jaundice of avidya, the only solution is to hear the nectar of the Bhagavatam. The only solution is to hear the nectar. It's the purest thing. There's nothing more amazing than hearing the Srimad Bhagavatam. When we hear the Srimad Bhagavatam, it's nectar. It's nectar. We have no desire to do anything else but spread this knowledge of the Srimad Bhagavatam to everyone. This is our only goal. Why? Because that is the only solution. If we don't distribute the Srimad Bhagavatam to others, then what hope is there for the world actually? What hope is there? This is the most important thing that a person must do actually, is to give Bhagavatam to everyone. That's the most amazing thing. Because by accepting the Bhagavatam, you see many people think, they can chant the holy name, and they should chant the holy name. And that's really amazing. But when they read the Bhagavatam, they'll continue to chant the holy name of Krishna. They'll continue to chant the holy name of Krishna. Their intelligence will become purified. The existence will become purified. There's nothing more amazing than that. That when people get this message of Srimad Bhagavatam, Nashra Prayesha Padresha Nityam Bhagavati Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtike. That all unwanted things in the heart will completely be destroyed to nil. And devotion to Krishna will be established an irrevocable fact. And the knot in the heart will be completely destroyed. So this is the only solution. And we need to distribute this Bhagavatam to everyone. It's the highest nectar. There's nothing more amazing than that. And by doing so, everyone will be benefited. They'll get the most amazing thing in the whole world. So anyway, I'll end the class over here. If there's any questions or comments, we can take them now. No mic?
Having some problems with one of the receivers.
Tech team.
Yeah, so it's one thing. All Ekadasis were traditionally Nirjala.
Yeah.
There wasn't.
Yeah, as he's not doing Nirjala on Ekadashi.
There was no Nirjala Ekadashi.
Yeah.
There's,
all Ekadashis traditionally were like that. And not just that, the whole day you don't do, and it's not just that day, but noon the day before, and you break your fast on the noon the day after. So it's like a 3-day fast.
And I was thinking regarding this thing, Prabhupada making the point about not being receptive to messages of peace because they didn't have any pious credits. And I was thinking that in devotees, we understand that by practicing Krishna consciousness, yasyasti bhakti bhagavatya kinchana sarvai gunais tatta samasate suraha. So they develop all the good qualities of the demigods, which are generally developed as a result of pious credits. But bhakti gives everything.
Yeah.
So when one gets devotional service, one also obtains the good qualities of the demigods, which means as a devotee makes further advancement in Krishna consciousness, they become receptive to messages of peace.
Yeah.
Meaning that devotees are eager to establish a peaceful environment. They're eager to have peaceful relationships with each other. They're eager to not keep fighting and bickering. Yeah. And in this way, they because they're controlling their senses and everything, and you can see who is advanced or not, and how much advancement they are making based on whether they are receptive to such messages or not. Like when you instruct a devotee, Prabhuji, it's like, because everything is not just logic and philosophy. Devotees were persons, and there's personal relationships, and there's multiple considerations and things like that. And so devotees who develop such good qualities, they become tolerant. And by becoming tolerant, by becoming humble, by becoming peace-loving, whether it is within the family, even within husband and wife, if they are good devotees, situation can be relatively peaceful. Otherwise, it's always about who's the boss, and then there's fighting and bickering. And same thing within devotional society also. Amongst devotees, among Sankirtan devotees, among temple devotees, among temple presidents, among GBCs, and the list goes on and on.
Yeah.
It's actually
It's
a
true.
true thing.
Agree.
And if you're interested in, the more interested you are in poking, rubbing it in others, devotees, being cheeky, cheeky for fun is one thing, but
Really
it shouldn't
nasty,
be.
yeah.
But there are people who mask that fun cheekiness with actually a
Innocence,
desire to
yeah.
rub it in the other devotee, like try to agitate them a little, because they derive pleasure out of making that person feel a little sorry. This is all
It's
Kshata
sinister,
Punya Leshaha.
Yeah, sinister.
That actually we all come from that background.
Yeah.
We all come from this background where we have no pious credits. But therefore what it actually displays is, it displays the lack of our advancement in Krishna consciousness, because we were never born with these good qualities.
Yeah.
We were born with all bad qualities. So, you see that. And a devotee
Kale
becomes...
dosha nidhi rajan. Kale dosha nidhi rajan. That like ocean of faults.
Yeah.
Ocean of faults in Kali Yuga.
Yeah. So, that's how the effects of Kali are stopped by the performance of Sankirtan,
Yeah.
by chanting the
Kirtana
holy
is
name.
Krishna's, yeah.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's not a mechanical process.
Yeah.
It's not that you just turn the wheel and then something happens.
Yeah.
It's not a mechanical process.
It can't be.
There has to be,
Yeah.
it has to be done with understanding, feeling, and most importantly, surrender.
Yeah. It can't be. Sankirtan cannot be mechanical. There's no question of it being mechanical. How can you mechanically distribute books? Really, can anyone do that mechanically?
What I mean is, if you do it out of pride, if you do it out of material
You
considerations,
won't do it anymore after some time.
Yeah, but that's the point. That you might be doing Sankirtan for some time, and you get benefit.
Yeah.
No doubt, but eventually it's mechanical, because it is a material. It is performed with material contamination. Let's say like that.
And not just that. If you perform it with the material motive, then only your material desires only increase. You remember you met an idiot in Denver. That person. I remember when they first started coming around. I was like, okay, this person is a little weird. He was with another idiot that we know very well. Thank God he doesn't come here. He was with another idiot, and then we were okay. Something really wrong here. Something is really up. And then now, if you see them, they're completely crazy. They only distribute books when they need money, and even that they're not doing so well these days. So they basically, more or less, they've stopped distributing books. They sell Rocket Ramas and Tocket Tamas and all these amazing things, and they're barely able to do anything. And I was talking to, I don't know who I was probably talking to you about this then. When you don't have an authority, I was talking to you. When you don't have an authority, and you're outside any varna and ashram, then you actually go crazy. There are single men, big rascals. They don't have a wife because they don't want to have a wife. They're just alone by themselves, wandering wherever they want, and they're alone with their mind. Their mind is their authority, and they're crazy. They're actually crazy. They actually lose their mind. Too much freedom will make you lose your mind. You need to have something to go back to. If you don't have an authority, you're really in a big soup. You either be a brahmachari or be a grihastha. Don't be a bachelor, daddy. Don't be going around on divine trips and associating with other divine girls in the process. But we see, and that the Sankirtan, this person, both of them actually, were such good book distributors. I remember meeting one of them in New York. I was thinking, dude, this guy is freaking amazing. I mean, had he stuck it out, following the bona fide spiritual master, his life would be different. But so sad, so sad. You just lose authority, you lose the spiritual master, you offend the devotees who are giving you good advice. It's just like Duryodhana. You gave that person good advice. You gave that person good advice. I gave that person good advice. I sent him pictures from mothers and masters like, Prabhu, what you're doing is sinful. Stop, And he was saying that. I remember one of the things he said, on his Facebook, I was chanting Hare Krishna, and then I found this girl sitting on a tree. And then he actually went and he was with that girl. He got with that mother, and now they're divorced. How pleasing is that to your spiritual master? But that's what happens. Kama says Hita Jnana. You should be very careful. Should always be susceptible to good advice. How will you be susceptible to good advice? The Bhagavatam says, Shushushosha Danasya.
Receptive?
Receptive, sorry. Receptive to good advice, Receptive to good advice. How will you be? Bhagavatam says, Shushushosha Danasya Vasudeva Kataruchi Syan Mahatsevaya Vipra Punya Tirtha Nishevana. That you need to Shushushosha Danasya. You need to hear with faith. And when you do hear with faith, Vasudeva Kataruchi. How will you do it? Syan Mahatsevaya Vipra. You need to serve those devotees who are free from vice. I remember one thing, especially with this person, the place where we were staying, so many sannyasis and all these devotees would come. And I would be very eager to wash their clothes or clean the bathroom or massage them and all. I'd say, Prabhu, do you want to help me do this? These people, I never want to do it. They just look at you as a servant and they make you do all this menial service. I'm going to go and distribute books. Why do I need to serve them? That was his attitude, actually. Now I remember precisely. I'm a Brahmana. Why should I do some menial service? Nonsense. This is called being stuck. And because he thought like that, he's completely ruined. He's associating with the sahajas. If I see him again, I just have to control myself. But it's so sad. It's so sad. But that's what happens. The devotees are not receptive. That's what happens. Not receptive to good advice. But then if you are receptive to good advice, my God, what a difference it can make. What a difference in my own life. Thank God, at least that one thing which I have going for me. Take some good advice. Take some good advice, Chill out. It's really good. And you should be very fortunate to have people who give you good advice also. Sometimes people give you bad advice, like, oh, don't go there. Like, someone told you, don't go to Christian life, go to the other sahajas instead, the other watered down folk instead, And you didn't take that advice, good for you. Because you're saying, I'm going to do it. You knew that, you did the right thing. But you see this danger is always there. This danger is always there. The minute you stop listening to good advice, you're ruined. Don't think that, oh, now I don't need to listen to it. No, we always have to listen. We should. That's why Avadut, we live to be corrected. It's very nice. It's we should do like that. So. Anything else? Yes, Omnish. Avadut, raise your hand. No. Okay. Go ahead.
Prabhu, so regarding Dushashana, and I have a question regarding him because I guess you could say he was somewhat receptive to Lord Krishna's advice. And I was just wondering, was this on some level him trying, exhibiting some form of him trying to surrender to Krishna? And if that's the case, I thought he created basically the worst offense, in the whole he created basically the worst offense in the whole story. So how was it that he wasn't so how did he not lose all of his pious credits to the point where he wasn't receptive like Duryodhana? Was it that he was more sincere than Duryodhana?
Well, I don't know about the sincerity or whatever it was, But we see this often in the Bhagavatam also. That Kamsa, he thought like, Vasudeva is such a nice person. He's so honest. He's coming to me with his first baby. Like the prophecy only says like 8th child. Do I really need to kill the other 7? What did he end up doing?
He ended up trying to kill it.
He killed 6 children. 6 his own sister's children he killed. 6 of them. But you can see demons also sometimes they think, oh man, like, should I really? But they end up doing a bad association. Every time, bad association.
I guess this is what happened with Duryodhana when for a moment he was questioning, like on the battlefield.
Yeah, he thinks like maybe Krishna is God. Like, so many times, it's so obvious. Like, come on, at least Bhishma is slain. Come on. Bhishma is slain. Can you give it up at least now? Who can compare to Bhishma? Parshuram. Thank you, Prabhu. Parshuram is there. He's telling, don't do this. Let's see. There's this thing in Christian book. We've been reading Christian book. It's really ecstatic, actually. Where is this? Yeah, okay. Kamsa became satisfied by the action of Vasudeva when Vasudeva came to give his shot. He was surprised to see Vasudeva keeping his promise, and being compassionate upon him and pleased, he began to speak as follows. My dear Vasudeva, you need not present this child to me. I am not in danger of this child. I have heard that the 8th child born of you and Devaki will kill me. Why should I accept this child unnecessarily? You can take him back. But then Vasudeva? When Vasudeva was returning home with his firstborn child, although he was pleased with the behavior of Kamsa, he could not believe in him because he knew that Kamsa was uncontrolled. An atheistic person cannot be firm in his word of honor. Important point. The atheistic people, they're not. Krishna is in front of you and you still don't accept him to be God. One who cannot control the senses cannot be steady in his determination. The great politician Chanakya Pandit says, never put your trust in a diplomat or in a woman. Those who are addicted to unrestricted sense gratification can never be truthful, nor can they be trusted with any faith. That's why.
Is it safe to say that consideration of Dushasana was motivated?
Of course, motivated. Krishna will. Anyone with half a brain. Prabhu, like you're depending on Karna. Suryaputra Karna. We have a joke about that, I'll tell you later. But you're depending on Karna. Where Arjuna has literally proven himself to be more powerful than all your warriors alone by himself. With Bhuminjaya riding his chariot, that's crazy. Arjuna defeated all the demigods combined in the Kandava forest alone. What hope do you actually have? Anyone with half a brain will like, come on, but the Danavas are going to help me. But what, are you serious? Are you serious? What is speak of Bhima? Yeah. My God. But yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Yes, anything else? Mataji? Yes.
You were mentioning about how Karna was previously killed by Lord Vishnu in another life. And then I remember rereading in Krishna book as well that Kamsa was a demon in his previous life that was killed by Krishna. And I'm just wondering, because I thought that when people are killed by Krishna, they're liberated, like they don't get another body.
So
what happens
Kamsa in his past life was Kalanemi and Narakasura. But sometimes these demons appear again, in order to be killed by the Supreme Lord. And as far as I remember reading, it's the opulence of Krishna, right? That when someone is killed, they're liberated. The Acharyas explain.
In other forms of Krishna,
they don't get liberated. Only it's the opulence of Krishna that they get liberated.
Killed by Krishna,
They get liberated. But you have to be big demon, so don't try to be big demon, try to be big devotee. Yeah. So, like, it's only the opulence of Krishna. When Krishna kills someone, they get liberated. Not the other incarnations.
Oh, I see. So not like the
No, it's not. It's not like that. Anything else?
If he wants, he can liberate them.
He can do whatever he wants. In general, yeah, common. Anything else? Okay. All right. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha. Kripa